Evelynn is easily the most hated and misunderstood champion in League of Legends, and she is considered by many to be the worst champion in the game. As you should see by the end of this video, this is simply not the case, and Eve can absolutely be a viable choice. The games you will see in this video were played around the 1800 ELO range and solo queue ranked, so it's not as though I'm just pub stomping inexperienced players. Learning how to play Eve starts before Champ Select, before Runes, before Masteries. You have to mentally prepare yourself to be the focus of all anger and blame from your team. Some people take playing this video game very seriously, and when you come along with your Eve pick, they take that as a personal insult. My best advice to you would be to try not giving a shit, because Eve is a fun champion, and the people who complain that you are picking her are likely the same people that will blame everyone else on the team with a complete lack of self-awareness if you lose anyway. Now, there are techniques you can use to reduce the likelihood of rage on your team. First of all, when I get in Champ Select and I want to play Eve, I will say something like, if someone can handle 2v1 bot with Cho, Galio, or Maokai, I will roam. What this statement does is establish the fact that you are capable of communicating with your team in a competent manner, while also informing them of your intention to roam. If no one on your team feels they can handle the 2v1, then the solution is simple: you don't roam. Locking in with the intention to roam without any communication on your part is sure to end in disaster. Now, if someone does volunteer to do the 2v1 lane, ask them if they have Evelynn, and if they do, swap them their champion. You'll want to leave the Eve pick as late as possible, because if you pick her too early, people on the other team will either be scared to pick squishy champions, or they may even build their team specifically to counter your ability to roam. Nothing is worse than trying to roam against a 5-tank team. Now that you've established that one of your teammates will be 2v1ing and you'll be roaming, your job is still not finished, as you'll want to walk your team through the rest of the picks. Champions that synergize best with Eve have a lot of crowd control. The more CC your team has, the more likely you are to win the game. In an ideal world, you will want your mid to be an AP carry with hard CC, your top should be either tanky, physical DPS, or both, and your jungler should be tanky, physical DPS, or both as well. An example of this would be Chobot, Brand mid, Aurelia top, and Nocturne in the jungle. There are many options, just make sure you maximize your CC, while also maintaining a balance between tankiness, physical damage, and magic damage. Now, I said before that I suggest people play Cho, Galio, or Maokai for the 2v1 lane, and while those are the three easiest to do it with, there are more champs that can handle laning against a support and a DPS, including but not limited to Jarvan, Nasus, Gragas, and Morgana. Morgana in particular shines against a Taric bot lane when others might have some trouble, as she can shield his stun easily due to its slow projectile speed. The advantages of each 2v1er could be the subject of a whole other video. For now, let's move on to preparing ourselves for the gameplay aspect of Eve. The masteries I run are 2109, and my runes are entirely AP except for the reds, which are flat attack damage. Having tried numerous different setups, I like this the most, as it maximizes the amount of damage you can put out at early levels, and the extra damage will net you more kills, ultimately allowing you to snowball better into late game than you would with other setups. For summoner spells, I go with Ignite and Flash, as these are the most aggressive summoners you can take. Ignite will give you the damage you need to grab kills, and Flash will allow you to make much more risky plays. Your skill order will change depending on the flow of the game, but you will always want your stealth first, then E, then another rank in stealth, and then your Q. I usually prioritize E while leveling up stealth every few levels. For items, start with boots, a ward, and a health pot. Upgrade to mobility boots first, then amplifying tome, sheen, and make your way to Triforce. After you get Triforce, there are two main options. If you're getting really fed, go straight for a black cleaver. Otherwise, you'll want to grab Wit's End. At this point, I tend to keep a steady flow of green pots while also building up towards a Guardian's Angel. It is incredibly rare for a game to go beyond having 3 full items, but if it does, I would recommend grabbing a Hextech Gunblade. I'd say that's enough with the preparations. Let's get into the gameplay. If the enemy team has CV, you will want to level up your W as soon as you get into the game. Go into stealth before buying your items and exit the summoning platform. Doing this will prevent them from scouting out which items you have bought. Take notice of the enemy jungler. Is it a champion that relies on blue, such as Amumu or Udyr, or is it a champion that can get along just fine without it? This information will determine your starting pattern as well as your ward placement. If it is a blue-dependent jungler, make your way to their blue side of the river, somewhere where you won't obviously be scouted or seen by CV. Wait until about 220, then make your way towards the blues, stealthing just as you enter their jungle. Drop your ward in the blue brush and back out. This ward is going to give you some very important information. Obviously, if they have their whole team guarding the jungler, you won't want to go in. But if it's someone just leashing for them, or if they are all alone, you have a very good chance for a kill, or at the very least the opportunity to completely ruin their jungle route. In this example, the enemy team's jungler is Lee Sin. I know for a fact that he will not be starting at blue because he does not even have mana, so I drop my ward in a place where it can reveal both the red and the path to wraiths. My ward scouts him going straight for golems, and I take notice of his items. He only has a vamp scepter and no health pots. He will be low health from doing golems. Now here I make the unfortunate mistake of waiting too long, however, to go in, and he manages to get away with a good reaction flash and one auto attack of health remaining. Now this gank, even though he didn't die, was not a failure. Not only is his jungle pattern disrupted because he has to go heal, he now has no flash and will not be able to aggressively gank our lanes or jungle. Now I move in to gank Brand with Janna. The best time to initiate on the enemy champion is when they go in for a creep kill, as that is when they will be most extended. In this particular case, we don't get a kill or a flash out of him, but he is forced to burn through a health pot. These level 1 ganks very often do result in you getting the enemy champ to flash, which is a big win as they will be much more susceptible to future ganks. This will force them to play conservative, allowing your own solo to free farm as well as possibly pick up a kill of their own since they will have the flash advantage. I think it's time for a level 1 flash montage. I'm sure you get the idea. Back to the example game, I've finished ganking mid and I'm headed towards the top. As I approach, I ping Warwick because I want Jax to play aggressive on him and start fighting. Warwick will instinctively fight back because in a 1v1 this early he will come out ahead. Then I go in and we start doing a heavy amount of damage. Jax has gained level 2 already, so he procs his stone on Warwick. Warwick flashes, but Jax has his jump ready and is easily able to finish off the kill. Jax now has a huge lane advantage, first blood gold and XP, as well as 2 full waves of gold and XP over Warwick. You'll notice before I leave the lane, I leech XP to level 2. Not too long ago, Riot changed the way XP was shared. Now there is actually more experience gained overall when there are 2 people in a lane, so it's not as though you're cutting your solo's XP in half while you're there. I head back to mid and look for an opportunity to open up on Brand. He doesn't present one as he's playing super defensive, so I give him a nice love tap to remind him of my presence and move on, avoiding any unnecessary damage. At this point I head bot lane for a bit and grab some experience while waiting for opportunities to open up in other lanes. When I get back to mid, Brand is still playing quite defensive, but I know that he will still try to go for a creep kill, so I wait and hit him at the moment that he is most extended. Instead of flashing away, he attempts to kill me. This is a mistake on his part, as I am more than prepared to trade a kill 1 for 1. As he is not only worth more than me, we would be getting assist gold as well. Fortunately, due to good play on Janna's part, I make it out alive and we get the kill. Continue on to part 2 for some real gameplay and in-depth discussion of tricks and strategies that will be the key to success with Eve.